The iPhone 15 Pro Max and Pixel 8 Pro are both the new flagships from Apple and Google. They offer the best from both manufacturers. Whether in terms of their technical sheet or the software, they promise to offer almost the best technologies available on the market. For people stuck deciding between the best of the best, what phone should they prefer? However, the two smartphones are quite different, and therefore have distinct strengths and weaknesses. This comparison video is therefore an opportunity for us to detail everything that makes these two devices attractive, and above all, to decide between them. The design of the iPhone hasn't changed dramatically in recent years. Walking down the street, you'll probably recognize an iPhone at first glance, and that's what makes Apple great. Google has also opted for the same strategy since its Pixel 6, its smartphones inheriting year after year a design very similar to previous generations. This year, Apple opted for a new titanium frame for its Pro models, which greatly reduced the weight of the devices. The iPhone 15 Pro Max now weighs only 221 grams, but this does not allow it to become lighter than the Pixel 8 Pro, which weighs only 213 grams with an aluminum frame. However, the Pixel 8 Pro is very slightly larger than the 15 Pro Max. Although both smartphones are protected by glass, they do not use the same one. The Pixel 8 Pro relies on Gorilla Glass Victus 2, while the 15 Pro Max is still entitled to Apple's Ceramic Shield, which is a little more resistant. Both devices are IP68 certified for water and dust resistance. No smartphone really stands out in this category. The winner will instead be determined by your personal taste. The screens used by the 15 Pro Max and the Pixel 8 Pro share a lot in common. These are LTPO OLED panels going up to 120 Hz and going down to 1 Hz on the two smartphones, however, with a higher definition on the Pixel 8 Pro, which is 1440 by 3120, compared to 1290 by 2790 pixels on Apple. The big difference between the two panels is the slightly higher brightness on the Pixel 8 Pro's screen. The latter can go up to 2400 nits peak, compared to only 2000 nits peak. In everyday use, you probably won't notice such a difference, as maximum brightness is only achieved in very specific conditions, such as watching certain HDR content outdoors. At the top of the screen, there is a small punch at Google and a large pill at Apple containing the sensors necessary for Face ID. Immersion is therefore slightly worse on the Apple smartphone. Note also that Google has abandoned the curved screen of previous generations for a flat screen like that of the iPhone. If the two panels are ultimately almost identical, Google has a slight advantage in this area. Thanks to its in-house chips, Apple is historically the smartphone market leader in terms of performance. With its newest 17 Pro chip, the first in the industry engraved in 3nm, the 15 Pro Max reaches new heights both on the CPU and GPU side. The smartphone is so powerful that Apple announced that some video games usually reserved for consoles, such as Assassin's Creed Mirage or Resident Evil Village, would be released at the end of the year on the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max models. For its part, the Pixel 8 Pro relies on a brand new Tensor G3 chip. While this is a significant improvement over the previous generation, it is far from being able to compete with Apple's latest processors. Moreover, despite its additional core, it is even slightly less efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which equips the best Android smartphones of 2023. On the famous Geekbench 6 benchmark, the Tensor G3 chip of the Pixel 8 Pro only obtains about 1750 points on one core and 4450 points on all hearts. The raw power of the 15 Pro Max is much higher, with scores around 2900 points and 7250 points. Apple therefore undoubtedly wins this category. However, let's remember that these are two very high-end chips. The difference in performance between the two on a daily basis will then be minimal during classic use of your smartphone. Small consolation prize for the Pixel 8 Pro. It is the only one to be compatible with the new Wi-Fi 7 standard, while the 15 Pro Max must make do with Wi-Fi 6E. Thanks to the close integration between the hardware and software of its iPhones, Apple has always managed to offer very solid autonomy on its smartphones, and this has been confirmed again with the 15 Pro Max. iPhone is not the only one to see the capacity of his battery increase, since the Pixel 8 Pro also benefits from a small increase. Unfortunately, this small increase will not be enough to do better than the 15 Pro Max, which is still the champion in the field. To compensate, the Pixel 8 Pro offers slightly faster wired fast charging. This time it can count on a maximum power of 30 watts compared to 20 watts on the 15 Pro Max. Fast wireless charging is also a little faster at 23 watts compared to a maximum of 15 watts using MagSafe on Apple devices. As users often tend to favor autonomy over fast charging, the point here goes to Apple. The reputations of Apple and Google are well established in terms of photo performance, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max and Pixel 8 Pro are both entitled to new features in terms of the cameras used. The 15 Pro Max relies on a 48 megapixels main sensor and a 12 megapixels ultra-wide-angle sensor, the same as on the 14 Pro Max. However, there is a brand new megapixels telephoto lens offering 5x optical zoom, when previously you had to make do with a 3x zoom. The iPhone therefore becomes a little more versatile and now competes with certain other high-end Android smartphones. The Pixel 8 Pro has a new 50 megapixels GN2 main sensor, larger than that of the 15 Pro Max. We could therefore theoretically expect better shots in low light conditions. It is supported by a new larger 64 megapixels IMX 787 ultra-wide-angle sensor, as well as a 48 megapixels GM5 telephoto lens offering 5x optical zoom. Google is therefore changing almost all of the sensors on the back of its high-end smartphone, which could well cause problems for Apple. Finally, note that the 15 Pro Max uses a LiDAR scanner, while the Pixel 8 Pro uses a more traditional time-of-flight sensor for calculating distances. The Pixel 7 Pro and 14 Pro Max were often difficult to decide between, but this year is perhaps the Pixel 8 Pro which will have a small advantage, at least on paper. We'll be conducting extensive camera tests on these phones to find out which of them is the king of computational photography. So stay tuned to our channel for more updates too. Like previous years, it is still difficult to choose between iOS and Android. The latest versions, iOS 17 and Android 14, have each added new features to the Apple and Google operating systems, so that they now share a large number of features in common. When it comes to software tracking, Google now promises a total of 7 years of updates, and is therefore almost in line with Apple in this area. However, Apple has in the past already deployed certain security updates on its smartphones almost 10 years after their release. Software monitoring will therefore take longer at Apple, which will let you benefit from the latest features for longer. However, each has its own strengths and weaknesses. On the one hand, Android, thanks to Google, gives you more freedom, whether in personalizing your smartphone or your interactions with other devices. On the other hand, integrating iOS into the manufacturer's ecosystem is always the best. Your choice will therefore depend on your personal preferences and the other devices you already own, but also on the features specific to the two OS which might interest you. You will have understood with its more attractive price and its technical sheet, which is not worth it compared to that of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It is the Pixel 8 Pro which stands out the most in this comparison. Google's smartphone therefore stands out as a very solid alternative to Apple's smartphones, particularly if you are looking for good value for money. However, if you were already anchored in the Apple ecosystem, that is to say if you own a Mac computer or another Apple device, opting for the 15 Pro Max could be a better choice. This will benefit from exclusive features between iOS and other Apple products, including continuity, which allows, for example, to start a task on your iPhone and continue working instantly on the same task on your PC. So, which one do you think is better for you? Let us know it down below in the comments section, and for more updates, you can check out our channel. See you in the next one. Peace out.